let's get into offensive line. Now, this is the kind of media you get these days. Kudos to Greer, McDaniel, Barry, Butch Scouts, to his quick release and these players for turning an enormous weakness a couple of years ago into a strength. Miami has allowed the 3 fewest sacks, 18, despite a flurries of injuries. Well, that's a stat. How has that come about? What's the context? Clearly, McDaniel deserves kudos. 2, his quick release deserves a lot of kudos. Hill and Waddle deserve lots of kudos. Does the offensive line. Now, you can see Joe Shad here, and I'm not trying to slander these guys because you can't criticize somebody. I can be criticized, but that's not slander. But I am dealing with the information. These guys are great in certain areas, but it's clear that the offensive line and blocking is maybe not their specialty. So you can see PFF shows you snaps, pressures, blah, 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 blah. And you use PFF, but you only pick and choose the ones that you want. And so I'm going to show you how I go about a review, and you're going to see it's holistic and it shows the basket of stuff here. Now, let's go. How did we arrive at those pressures? How do we arrive at those sacks? And what did the Jets do and we do? And let's deal with how I evaluate. And maybe you can pull some of the stuff in your own evaluations. Now, if you look at this graphic here, you can see dropbacks, attempts, completions, completion percentage, yards per attempt, touchdown, and ints. Now, those 2 ints kind of, you could say, oh, well, they were at the end of the game or whatever. Maybe you want. Still, we only got 1 touchdown, 243 yards against a Jets defense. It's good, but it's not like it has weaknesses, and it was on the field all day. And you're going to understand the context to what's going on with this defense and how we're able to do what we did. Now, so you had only 243 yards. You only had 1 touchdown. Nice completion percentage. But you had batted balls, seen a little red box, 3. You had thrown away passes, 2. So that's 5 passes beyond the 4 defensive pressures and the 2 sacks. So that is a total of 7 plays that were disrupted by the defense, with 2 extra that were negatively induced with the 2 extra pressures, if you know what I'm saying. Now, look at the blue box over here. Depth. Look at 43% of our passes were 9 yards and less. Behind a line of scrimmage, 26.7. That is an anomaly. We do not throw the football like that. We changed what we did in a big way. But this says McDaniel's doing a great job. He game planned excellently. Okay? When you throw that short, and you'll see how quick we threw, you'll understand that there was no way, especially considering how they attacked us, that this Jets defense of line could have put any more pressure than it did. Now, you'll see the purple box to the bottom left, RPP, that's my stats, rushers per pass, 4.2. They brought 4.2 rushers on every play. Our blockers per pass was 5.8. We had 1.5 or so blockers to extra to their rushers. So we had plenty of guys to help mitigate this 4-man rush. We were only blitzed 4 times. We threw 7 screens. Out of those 30 attempts, we only really threw the ball where there could be pressure 23 times. And of those 23 times, there was 4 blitzes. Now, and we threw it short within that. Okay? Now, look at this next-gen stat. Mac Jones threw 208. Okay? That was the fastest that week. We were second at 2.17. But again, our intended air yards was 5.1. That's extraordinarily low for us. But look, 2.17. Then you go to Boyle, New York Jets, 236. And then it goes right to 2.5. Most of the league throws 2.5. If you look at a stat from a couple of weeks ago, all our pressure, the majority of it comes at 2.5 or better. So you can see clearly the short game designed by McDaniel, his ability to throw, his decision to throw lots of screens, it mitigated the Jets' any ability to really get after us with four guys. But it was the quick release, the speed of Hill, the speed of Waddle, the release of Tua that again generated the protection.